All right. Hello, and good evening. And do I have news for you? Now, before we get into anything, I just have to ask, how is everyone doing? 2026 has been a bit of a roller coaster so far, and we've just got it started. I know. Real rough. Nope. As mentioned in my community post, we got to get straight to work. And as you can see by the title, we have very limited time to finish this animation. I think today that we are going to work on my OC Animatic again. We have moved on to the animation the animation process of Ozias, the guy in red right now. Have to get him moving off the screen. I have 6 frames done and still plenty more to go. So as I said, I have a lot of news. First and foremost, let's talk about the kitten. You all remember that foster kitten? For anyone who's new here, my family had recently taken in a little kitten. We named him Champ, and we had found him outside our house, dumped by the side of the road, practically. Well, he found a home. The family reached out to us and was over the moon to have a new kitten, and they've gotten along well since we've last spoken to them. I was a little scared at first that Champ would be nervous. That's the kitten's name. I was more worried at first he would be scared because he was always a little bit of a sensitive cat. But no, he adapted literally right away. The family has a little dog too, just like ours, so I'm sure that helped a little bit. He loved dogs. Yeah, I told you all last stream that I would update you not only on the cat, but his bath. His bath went about as good as you would expect it to go. Granted, I'm surprised he didn't, claw anyone up in the process, but he was awfully cold afterwards, and don't worry, we made sure to warm him up. But yeah, he found a new home. Exciting. So why do I only have today to finish this? Well, the truth is, I won't be working next week. All my animations and art are going to have to be put on hold. And this has to do with an entirely other, I guess you could call it a job. But I have an entire other job I need to do for someone else, and of course I'm going to prioritize my work for them as well. They're giving me their time and all that stuff, so I need to get that done. It's not art related, it's actually related to another passion of mine. I love dog training. It's something that I've explored and dabbled in for a couple years now, but only recently have come to truly enjoy this activity. For not only the benefit of the dogs, but for the aspect of being able to help their owners better understand them. And, well, I got my first client, and they're having some trouble with 2 dogs, and I offered to take one of the dogs for, let's say a week, and see if I could get a jump start on the training. So that's why I won't be able to do much work next week, and why today is so crucial that we get these frames finished in the animation. And now I don't know if we're going to make it all the way to the coloring and shading portion, but my biggest concern is the animation. Because you know what they tell you, animation takes time. I have the sketches out of the way, so that should fix a lot of the conflict there. But line art is still one of the longest processes I have in animation. It can take forever because... Oh yes, I almost forgot. We still have Spotify ads. Sorry about that. Don't worry, I'm working up the funds for that. We are going to get that premium version here any day now. But yeah, animation takes time in my process simply because of the line art portion. You know that old saying that the sketches always looked good compared to the line art? A lot of that has to do with the idea that sketches have this, like, handmade, organic look. And it's something I personally don't think AI can ever capture. Whereas it's human-made and human uniqueness. Everyone's sketches look a little bit different, and I think that's why I like them. So, as any great artist does, we take our line art seriously. We don't want to take away from what we saw in the sketches, and maybe it never truly will match the love and care the sketches had. But we like to take our time with it. The only problem is I don't got any time. I only have tonight to finish it. I spent all week procrastinating. I know. It's bad. I just had so much more I had so much ideas for a comic-related stuff that I didn't think about the animation, and... well, now we're here and we gotta finish it. Speaking of comics, would anyone be interested in reading one of my mini-shorts? Now, it's not a full story. We'll get to that eventually. I'm gonna make a full story here, but right now I decided to dabble in small things. As you know, you start small. And I had made some mini-short comics. I've been going back and forth on where I want to post them, while also wondering if that would be something anyone would be interested in. Now, quick disclaimer, you should always create for yourself, first and foremost. Now, if you wrote a book, you would have to consider an audience at some point. But when it comes to the bottom line creation of your own characters and stories, you should always create for you. So that's always going to be my first thought when I make the comics, is I want to be able to enjoy them. I mean, I'll be the one drawing them for the next, I don't know, year or so. So you should love what you create. And if that's little mini shorts, I'm going to love these little mini shorts until I run out of ideas. But yeah, I'm still going to ask though, would anyone be interested in reading them? If so, I had just opened a Blue Sky account. For anyone who doesn't know, Blue Sky is the new social media platform that had overtaken the audience of Twitter, I think. I'm not too up to date with social media, so I'm not gonna fight that flame war. But pretty much what happened, Twitter's going down, it's supporting AI, artists are leaving, introducing Blue Sky. It came into the picture and gave people a new platform which to post their art and to post other things, but it has a large art audience, which is why we're gonna go over there. Now, I would love a personalized website for reading my comics, but since they're so small, I think we're just going to stick to a social media platform for now. But yeah, something to look forward to, the little mini shorts. I have made... how many? Let's see. 3? I have 3 completed projects at the moment. And they're all involving my Ivar characters. What you're seeing right now is Wolkas of the Stone, my very first story here on the channel. Ivar was a second story that was introduced maybe a little more than less than a year or so ago. And it was through their introduction I had not only found a love for comics again, but also a love for this little mini short. Now please excuse the art gallery in my photos. We're gonna have to go back and forth a bit to collect some frames, and it's very messy. I'm almost embarrassed to let anybody see it, it's so bad. I do not do enough organizing, as I should. I'm a very unorganized person, if you guys haven't noticed. I managed to make it here on time, though, so that's something. But yeah, Ivar. It's kind of a little world I've been dabbling in. on and off for the past few years, and I have some really big plans of making huge comics for him. Now, let's back up a little bit. What are these huge ideas? Well, at first it was going to be a one-off comic where it was just the origins about how the characters met and how they rose to, I don't know if we necessarily call it fame than it is a type of name recognition as a vigilante-style hero for the city of Hope Harbor. Well, that slowly branched off into multiple stories that could almost be considered a saga at this point. From humble beginnings, to the triumphant middle, to eventually the challenging end, where the characters will have to face their greatest enemies in order to rise on top, whether this be internal or external conflict. Now, big ideas are great and all, but big ideas need somewhere to start, and Ivar had always daunted me as one of the largest projects I would ever have to complete, alongside a book series I had, but that's a story for another day. But something about Ivar always stuck out to me. And if a story has ever stuck out to you, and has never left you alone, and seems to have followed you around in the last few years, that might be a sign that that story's worth something. I heard someone say once that a story needs at least a year to gather in your brain until it becomes worth looking into. Now, this is not me saying that you can't create a story based off the characters you came up with in your head like 5 seconds ago. It's just, if you really want to see the story's potential, you kind of have to give them that year to develop, even if you are working on them. I made Wolkas of the Stone off of a impulse drawing I made at school of these 2 wolf cat-like characters who did not have a name at the time. But I loved the design so much, I was determined to have some story with them. But because I had jumped on the idea so quickly, I actually wasn't sure what direction or even story I was trying to tell or where I was going. So, introducing the Wolkas of the Stone constant rewrite, where only now have we got something to stand on. It's not perfect by any means, but it's definitely a lot better than what it previously was. And our characters have expanded so much from that time. Kanu and Remus, the 2 main characters of Wolkas of the Stone, used to just be, kind of just figureheads of our story, where they kind of just went along with the plot A to B. Where now their actual character and choices affect so much of the world around them that it genuinely feels lived in. I apologize for my speech stuttering. Quite thirsty. I don't have a drink in here with me. Yeah, Ivar went through that hurdle too, where it just couldn't find its footing. Granted, I gave it a year or so before I actually started trying to turn it into something serious, but even so, it had a lot of trouble, and it's hard to really know who to blame for it. Was it the story itself didn't have enough background? Was the idea not solid? Or perhaps it was me. Alright, I'm gonna have to get real with you all for a second. If you ever feel as if a story is physically harming you to create, please do not push yourself to make it. I cannot stress this enough of how important it is to genuinely love what you create, not to pretend that you love something because it's popular or because you think it's what people want to see. This can really hurt you. The more you think about what other people think about your story, the more you're gonna hurt yourself. Just make stuff for you. If you love that trope, you put it in your story. You love that character design or that, cliche plotline, you put it in your story. I would suggest adding maybe a little bit of a twist so it doesn't sound like a repeat, but Other than that, you should not be afraid that people are not gonna like your story simply because you put this favorite trope into the story. I always wanted a comic of my own, and with Ivar, I thought I would find it through creating a superhero-style story. And I'm not saying I don't love those stories. I do absolutely love action and adventure stories. But I was pushing so hard for the character to be this openly heroic and daring figure, and tons of other plotline points that I won't really go into, as I do not have them with me to look over correctly and give you an actual assessment of what the story was. But it had such a different beginning that you wouldn't even recognize that it was the story that it currently is today. And it was because I was searching for that one story that would become super popular and super famous, and that was never going to happen. Not when my heart wasn't in it. Only after I let go of this perception that my story had to be perfect did I ever actually see what it could be. And honestly, I think a lot of the messy parts about the story are what I love about it the most. It feels real, it feels genuine, it feels like me. But yeah, enough of serious soul, let's get back to the topic at hand. This Animatic. For if you were not here last stream, this is my OC Animatic for Remus, and it's based off that library meme. We had done the coloring and a bit of the shading last stream, but we didn't finish it. With such little time, I now have to try and get as much of it done as I physically can. So now that's what we're gonna do today. I'm here to be your background noise. Go grab that tablet or dust off your old sketchbook. I want to spend time drawing with you. I'm just here to fill the space. And listen to music. That's probably going to get interrupted by another ad here pretty soon. Let's talk about that Spotify ad, though. I mean, I find it so annoying that the student option is cheaper than the regular. I mean, I get it. Students need a cheaper option because they're in school and they can't pay as much money. But I just don't know if I can spend that much for a premium account just to take the ads away. But the ads are really starting to get at me.
Holidays have come and gone once again.
Speak of the devil, there it is.
Special someone in your life a gift. Well, Mint Mobile is extending their holiday offer of half off unlimited wireless. So here's the idea. You get it now. You call it an early present for next year. What do you have to lose? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save.
Limited time 50% off regular price for new customers. Upfront payment required.
Man, this is a long one.
3-month, $90 for 6-month, or $180 for 12-month plan. Taxes and fees extra. Speeds may slow after 50 gigabytes per month when network is busy.
I wonder what it's for. Well, too late. I didn't hear it. But yeah, I just don't know if I want to spend that much money of trying to get the ads ruined. I mean, I'm probably going to in a few minutes if I'm going to pull my hair out, but it's not that bad. At least it's not every single song, it's like every few minutes. Speaking of school, who is ready for a little bit of a childhood story time? When I was little, they had at my preschool this big, it almost looked like a sandbox on legs, like if you were to put table legs under a sandbox. Yeah, they let you play in it and all that stuff. However, it wasn't filled with sand. It was filled with cooking rice, like the white rice you buy in bags. And oh my gosh, I loved it so much. I remember that would be the first thing I would go to. And it's not just because I like digging around in dirt and sand. You have not lived until you smelled uncooked rice. I don't know why, but rice has always been one of my favorite smells. Next to sawdust. And as a kid, I always wondered if you could climb into the sandbox. What would it feel like? Well, you remember how I said it was on legs? Yeah, there was a reason for that. You weren't allowed to climb in it. You'd get in trouble if you got anywhere near it that wasn't just a play of your hands. And every so often, I think about that sandbox, especially if I open a bag of white rice. And my first thought is, I'm an adult now. If I wanted to, I could climb into a sandbox of rice. But there's one problem with that. Number one, I don't have enough rice. Number two, I don't have a sandbox big enough to put the rice in. So I suppose that will just be an endeavor for another day, but... yeah, that rice sandbox is so weird. I mean, I'm not the only thing it had either. They also had this giant pirate ship. You know those playgrounds that you climb around on? Yeah, ours was shaped like a pirate ship. And I don't remember most of the details about it. I just remember running around on it and pretending that it wasn't anything but a pirate ship. Like a castle, a base, fortress. Yeah, I don't even remember if we ever actually pretended that it was... okay, I wouldn't call it a pirate ship. I don't even know if we pretended it was a pirate ship. I'm trying to remember, what else was at that preschool? They had this really colorful rug, but most preschools have colorful rugs. It's been a long time since I was there. Well, but in school, going up a grade, moving into the kindergarten through elementary, our playground was pretty small. It wasn't a big school. It was one of those rock-covered playgrounds that had these tiny little pebbles that you totally would eat, and then the teacher would get mad at you, all that fun stuff. Every day you come home, you bring one of those rocks in your shoe. And sometimes you would just spend evenings just digging through it, wondering if you could ever reach the bottom. That kind of playground. Well, the playground used to have a merry-go-round, and if your playground too had a merry-go-round, you might know where this is going. Well, that merry-go-round, aside from the swings, was the most popular thing as a child. You were either on the merry-go-round, or you were on the swings. Anything less was considered lame and not fun. Well, if the swings were taken up, and you went to the merry-go-round, you had a few options. You were either just going to sit there and spin on it. One time I remember me and my sister and I, we just laid there and just spun it very slowly as we looked at the clouds, pretty peaceful. But if there was enough of you that decided that day that the merry-go-round was more exciting than the swings, or there was an adult present who was not a teacher, it became dangerous. The merry-go-round became the funnest thing on the playground at a cost. I did this too a little bit when I was younger with my dad, but what he would do is as soon as you climb on, they spin it really, really, really fast, and your only goal is to hang on for your life. That was the merry-go-round at my school. When I was with my dad, it never got out of hand, but I saw a couple times growing up that it got so fast that it looked like some kids were going to go flying off of it. Of course, it never really occurred to me just how dangerous that could be. Because, you're a kid, you don't think about that stuff. But I remember one day in particular, I didn't witness it, but I heard about it, that it just kind of dawned on me that could have been me. And it was the day we were told that the merry-go-round was gone. Everyone was outside on the playground, and there was this big, gaping hole in the center of the rock piles. The merry-go-round had been taken away in the night. Apparently, after school hours, somebody had not only gone flying off it, but had hurt themselves when they flew off it. Obviously. So, no more merry-go-round. I don't know if they've ever replaced it. I'd have to go check that out. I'll let you all know if I find out what happened to that merry-go-round. Because I'm not actually sure. I thought last time I was there they replaced it with something safer, but that was a year or so ago, so I can't be sure if even that may have not been exploited. Does anybody else here have a parent, an uncle, a cousin, pretty much a family relative who would let them get away with pretty much anything they would want? for me, it was my dad. He always let us do pretty much anything so long as we were in, constant supervision. When we'd go out to this little neighborhood playground, he would take us to an even worse merry-go-round. This one was tiny. It was barely big enough for 2 kids. And we came up with a game that when he spins it, we brought, and I don't know why we had these, but we had dog leashes on him. We don't have a dog. I think I just liked dragging my toys around as if they were a pet. But yeah, we had dog leashes, and we'd use those as a seat belt to try and hang on as it spun around like crazy fast. Honestly, it's a miracle one of us didn't end up with a broken leg. Another thing we got away with was with swings. You remember how earlier I just mentioned that the swings were the most popular thing in school? Yeah, they were so popular that sometimes you could go the entire day at school without ever touching them. You weren't allowed near them. Only the popular kids got to swing. You had to wait your turn, and recess wasn't very long. So, I really only got to swing if A, the merry-go-round was more popular that day, or we'd come after hours. And I don't know where my dad got this idea of this being safe. I mean, granted, we weren't very big, but I'm sure at the same time, it wasn't safe either. But he would just play this game where we'd be in the swings. Keep in mind, we're not going slow, we're going fast. And he would play this game where he'd act as if he's walking in front of us, and one of us would tap him in the back. And then he'd act all mad, and then that's where we're going as we slide away from him on the swing. And even to this, I would also say it's a miracle we didn't knock him over one time. Talk about a weird childhood. It's not the weirdest thing I've done. Playground shenanigans. I think the weirdest thing I've ever did as a kid was perhaps that butterfly raising we did once. Did anyone else do that? Butterfly raising? Pretty much what it was that you would put little butterflies. They'd give you these chrysalis and sometimes the little caterpillars. And you would take care of them and feed them until they turned into butterflies. But the butterflies were not strong enough to fly yet. So you got to keep them for, let's say, a day or so. And feed them, and you could hold them because they weren't afraid of you, all that fun stuff. It was really cool, and I honestly would love to do it again, but I do not remember where we got them or if it's even possible to still do that. Yeah, that's one of the weirdest things I think I've done. Oh, no, the weirdest thing I think I can remember doing as a kid was playing these games with my sister. Now, all kids play with toys and make stories with them. However, I don't think every person goes through a full-on movie sequence with their toys, with a beginning, a middle, an end, a villain, tragedy, success, and pretty much everything you would think of from a story pyramid was in that adventure. And I didn't even need my sister to do them. Sometimes I did them by myself. I wish I still had it. I used to have a book that I wrote as a kid of that story. I loved the story so much. It was about a little cat that went on an adventure to slay a dragon. I loved it so much that I actually wrote the whole thing down in what I thought was the best thing on planet Earth, and now I'm terrified to look at. But I don't know where it was. My sister and I were cleaning out the house and found it, but then we misplaced it again. As we do with most things in this house.
And listen to them ad-free. It's what your ears deserve. Tap the banner to learn more.
Yeah, I would say that's probably one of the weirdest things I've done as a kid. That would probably take a close second. I also, and you're not gonna believe this, I really, really liked writing fanfics, but not your cheesy, corny fanfics of what you think of when you think of fanfics on Wattpad. I chose the weirdest things that weren't necessarily like ships or anything. It was just characters from a video game where I gave them backstories and then would flesh out those backstories into something that was completely unrelated to the original plotline. To a point, it makes you wonder, why did you not choose another character for that? Why did you choose that character from that video game? And I'm like, I don't know, I was learning to write. I honestly think fanfics get a bad name sometimes. I know they can be weird, and I know there's strange ones out there, and a lot of the times they're poorly written. But there's some fanfics out there that I've read that aren't actually that bad. They had genuine heart and feeling in them. Yeah, I think sometimes they get too bad of a name for what they're worth. Now, I'm not gonna say they aren't weird. They can totally be weird. I just don't think we should treat them as if they're not a good place to start. I think they're a great place to start learning to write. They do save you a lot of time. You don't have to make any of the characters. The world and characters are already there. So yeah, if you like to write with other characters and just for you, I would say do it. It's great practice. I never shared any of those stories I wrote. I kept most of them to myself and maybe shared them with my parents. But if I had never made them, I probably wouldn't have really loved storytelling as much as I do now. Speaking of storytelling, we're gonna get serious here for a minute. Perhaps not as serious as our previous conversation about creating what you love, but I need to be honest with you. I haven't been completely open about the changes that have been happening so far on the YouTube channel. And if you're here and an avid watcher of Soulfox Pictures, this is for you. We are going to be shifting content just slightly. We're not going to stop making animatics. We love animatics here. I love telling stories through animation. However, they take like a month to do. Sometimes 2 at max. And I really don't like the idea of not giving you all something at least every month. Whether it be a short or a full project like this one. I want to not only be connected with you all, but I want you to all also get something out of the work I create, instead of having to wait like a month to get it. And of course, my own interests have slowly been shifting into the world of video making and all that fun stuff. So, I have this idea, and I'm going to pitch it to you all right now. I have this idea of making a documentary series of the Ivar comics. I not only think you can get a lot of educational value out of them, but they would also give us something to upload. Not every day, because that's a lot of work. Maybe once a week. So yeah, if that's something that you would like to see, please let me know in the comments. I would love to know. But yeah, alongside of that, you may have noticed that I was making shorts to promote the stream. I think that it's good that we capture these small moments in the stream that can not only be worth something, but also to just genuinely share it. I'm not gonna lie, I not only stream because I love to. I love chatting with you all, I love just talking out loud. But I'm also streaming for connection. I've been kind of in between things in real life, and having this opportunity to not only share my world with other people, but also share time with you has been truly, truly amazing, and I cannot thank you enough. Now, I probably won't be able to stream next Friday because, well, the dog coming to visit. However, just know that when we meet again, what's a good way to put this? You are appreciated. Each and every one of you, you are appreciated. Yeah, but what would that documentary series be about? Well, I think a lot of it would just capture the process of Ivar. From humble beginnings of when I first came up with the concepts for some of the mini shorts, to even following along in the creation of the main story, which I started, I think last week. Yeah, last week. I started the first baby steps to writing a big full-length comic. And who knows, maybe if these videos do well, we can even expand upon the Wolkas of the Stone world. Maybe we can talk a little bit about them. I've had some character design and character story lore that I would love to get on the channel. A lot to do with the idea that these characters have changed a lot since I first created them 5 years ago. Well, has it been 5? Well, it's 5 or 4. 5 or 4 years ago. They've changed an awful lot, and I think a lot of the lore needs to be reestablished, lest we get confused and lost somewhere in between. Yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I am here to answer them. You know, a couple days ago, we were completely without water. Okay, so what happened? Behind us, a street back, a main had busted. Not sure how, not sure why, but it was 7 in the morning, and I just let the dog out of my room when the phone goes off, midway under the blanket and on my pillow. I was trying to go back to sleep. The phone goes off, and I'm lying there like, why does this have to happen so early in the morning? Only for me to sit upright when I hear that your water has been contaminated and blah, 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 blah. So I have to stay awake to warn my family as they get up that we shouldn't use the water. Something's wrong with it. And that's when we found out about the busted main next door. So, we had to go without water. Well, problem number 1 was the coffee maker. Our coffee maker required nearly 2 bottles full of water just to give my sister and I enough for the day. So that was our first issue. We didn't want to go through the water.
Play the music the moment is calling for.
Oh my
Whether
goodness,
it's
these
trying to
ads.
party or winding down to relax in the evening.
Is it just me or they seem a bit more
Soundtrack with
rapid
ad-free
today?
music
They
listening
really
and
want me to
offline
buy
downloads
that
on Spotify Premium. Tap the banner to
premium
learn more.
version, don't they?
Okay, so that was issue number 1. We didn't have a coffee maker. I mean, we did, but no water. So we tried the bottles, it took so much, and then we were worried that we were going to use up all the water. But oh, it gets worse, because without the water, we couldn't wash dishes. So we didn't have a coffee cup for our coffee. And we ended up putting them in these, like, weird half-size gallon... Well, not gallon, it was like a half-size cup with a handle. Or it reminded me of a mug, but not big enough. And it couldn't fit all the coffee, so we just had leftover coffee with nothing to put it in. Now, I know I could have gotten a refill for it later. By the time I remembered we did have a refill, it was too late to drink coffee, so I had to dump out perfectly good coffee. And I still have not emotionally recovered yet. But yeah, glad that's finally over. We were just updated that it's all back online, the water testing's clear, and we can finally use our coffee maker again and have proper coffee cups. Praise be the coffee gods. Yeah, I would not be the same person anymore without coffee. You know, why I got into coffee in the first place was a trip to the vet once. I know, weird introduction, but it's true. We were taking one of our cats back from the vet or perhaps it was a dog. It was a dog or the cat. When my mom decided that we should stop at a McDonald's for something to eat. It was early in the morning, so she asked if we wanted a coffee. Now, we're not new to coffee. We've had it on and off, but nothing extreme. It was usually just those bottled ones you can buy at gas stations. And Dulce, excuse me, my sister, getting my names confused, my sister thought that a caramel macchiato sounded good. So we tried it. To this day, we can still not find out what on earth we ordered, because we ordered a caramel macchiato again somewhere else, and it still was not the same. We even went back to the cheap McDonald's stuff, and it still was not the same. So I don't know if we got lucky that day we ordered it, or what, but I don't know what happened. It just doesn't taste the same. The one we make at home honestly tastes better, so that's what got us into it in the first place. But I will miss that one macchiato or whatever it was. We did wonder though if it was just some type of caramel mix that wasn't macchiato and they just heard us wrong. But that doesn't help. We don't know what one it was. And I don't have the time or the means to go through the entire menu just to find it. I'm glad the one we make at home works. We actually got the tip from our aunt. She likes coffee. I am a traitor to this family. This family's tea drinkers. I like coffee. Are you a coffee drinker or a tea drinker? My family's tea, my aunt is coffee, so we had to wait till we met her to discuss how to make our own cup of coffee. And she was more than glad to turn us over to the dark brew side. But yeah, what we put in it isn't anything fancy. I would like to have at least whipped cream one day, but I haven't got the chance to try it. But it's just a caramel macchiato creamer from, honestly, we can get it at the dollar store. It's very cheap, but it tastes very, very good. And with a little bit of whipped cream, it would probably taste just like the one we got that one day. So yeah, lesson here is you don't need to spend a huge amount of money on the Starbucks good stuff, though I will admit it's very good. It's so good. But you can make them at home, and they're still pretty good, I say. Alright, so what else will I be posting on Blue Sky? Well, since I'm not just... I mean, I am going to post probably more heavy on the Ivar side, as I have a lot of art pieces saved for Ivar. I did dabble more in that monster world I told you about, like the one of Tyrone and the Minotaur. Yeah, for those who don't know, I'm attempting to write a book. Don't expect anything new or anything quickly on the channel, because it is very still in the infant stage of creation. But yeah, as a way to not only learn more about the world, but perhaps even share a little bit with you, I have been making little portraits of the monsters that would be featured at some point in the story. Now, saying that, I heard myself out loud. I don't think every monster is going to be featured. I mean, they might get mentioned or noted. But there's an awful lot of monsters that have been created over the human lifespan. And to a point that I just sometimes randomize, like a number, and can just look up a random monster and draw that. A couple weeks ago, I drew the Minotaur, who I named Tyrone after a character of mine in my book. This week was the Chimera. Now, you might recognize the Chimera as the lion with the goat head, the snake, and the dragon. But in actual original paintings of the Chimera, it didn't have a dragon. It wasn't a dragon. The oldest depictions in Greek culture of the Chimera pictured a lion with a goat's head and a snake's tail. That was the earliest Chimera we ever had. I don't actually know where the dragon came from. If you know, let me know. I have actually no idea where the dragon came from. Alright, we're looking good. We're on frame 19. Wow, time flies. You know, it very much occurred to me you all could see some of my sketch stuff in here. Some of the comic pages, too. You better not go snooping. I think we're on this one. Let me check. Yes, we are. My tips for line arting your sketches is something I mentioned perhaps a stream or so back. Excuse me, something's... Oh no. We're having a bit of streaming issues. I apologize on your end. There might be some small bits of buffering. I don't know why it's doing that. I tried something a little different this time with the stream. Clearly it seems to be affecting it slightly. We might have to call it early if this doesn't stop, though. I don't want to give you all a bad experience. Well, it just seems a little slow. Yeah, my best advice for line art and sketch has a lot to do with line confidence. Now, I'm working on this too, as I don't consider myself a professional in this regard. But pretty much the idea is when you put a line down on your page, it shouldn't look like this, where you do hash lines over each other to get a thicker line or a smaller thin line. The hope is that if you draw a line, it should go where you want it to. And as you can see with the nose, I'm not the best at it. But yeah, but if you can achieve this, it makes getting the sketch look, like the organicness of the sketch in your line art, easier. I think a lot of people get stumped on the idea that, you know, they don't want to ruin the sketch and all that stuff. But I believe if you're careful and with a lot of practice, you can still bring out the love and care the sketch had through the line art. Okay, the warning's gone on the stream, but yeah, note to self, we are not going to do this new setting I put on next time. It is really laggy. I'm just worried about the experience on you all's end. I don't want it to be interrupted by stream quality. I use Stream Champ to stream for iPads, and it's not the most reliable thing for iPads, but it's all we got right now. One of the things I don't like about it is that you can't really edit the settings once you started the stream. So we're stuck with this quality until the end of the stream.
Are you looking for effective?
Oh boy, here we go again. The ads are back.
At Christian Counseling,
You know, it usually gives me a ad about,
quality mental health care.
I don't know, some movie or some song coming up, and then it will give you 30 minutes of ad free. It's not doing that today.
Major insurance plans. If you are ready to take the first step toward
That would have
healing
been
and
very
growth,
nice.
Give us a call today at 304-451-0677.
I think that was an ad about healthcare. For whatever reason, this app is like determined to say I have something wrong mentally. I don't know what that says about me, or what that says about the app's perception of me. Apps are weird sometimes with their advertisements. Apps are weird. I was hoping to get to some comic pages today, but it doesn't look like we're gonna make it. This animation is taking about as long as I expected it to. So, sorry if that was something that you were looking forward to. I will, however, give you a sneak preview at the end of stream of what our next project will look like. Not next Friday, but the Friday after that. I'd say look forward to perhaps another stream. a comic drawing stream, maybe. Though, of course, we still got this project to work on, so we might do both. We'll see. You know, a family friend of ours brought over this chicken salad. Actually, no, I don't think it's chicken salad. It reminds me of chicken salad. It's like turkey salad. Yeah, turkey salad. It's a turkey salad dip. And I had the crazy idea yesterday to have it on a burger bun instead of on a cracker or a piece of bread. Honestly, it tasted really good. I had another one just before stream. It was really good. If you have not had turkey salad, I highly suggest having some. Or maybe that family friend is just really, really good at making it. I don't know, you decide. But you know what it reminded me of? And I might scare off a couple people saying this, because apparently it's widely debated. Is the turkey salad reminded me a lot of egg salad. Apparently a lot of people are divided on egg salad. I heard some people say it's the worst thing and most nasty food on planet Earth. And I've heard others say they love it. I'm on side egg salad. I'm sorry, I don't care that it looks gross. It's so good. Once you get past the smell and the taste, it's so good. I'm sorry if that changed some perception of me, but I don't care what others think of me. I like egg salad. Frame 20, guys. We are almost there. My main goal, obviously, was to get the animation done. As you can see, this whole section here in the red is what we're trying to finish. But now we have moved into a territory of kind of hard to tell which frame I need to pick. Yeah, we're turning his head up now. Yeah, we actually got a lot of work done today. I'm impressed. But yeah, the turkey salad wasn't the only thing we're gonna have. I believe tonight we're gonna have something called barbecue chicken. A personal favorite of mine. But yeah, the turkey salad was to hold me over for the stream. So it does remind me, the time for the stream might change again in the next few weeks. I don't know. The thing is, I love these evening streams. Oh, we're having another error again. But I like these evening streams. I just kind of worry that they're not the most convenient. So yeah, it will probably still be on a Friday, but it's probably going to be at a different time. I will let you know. Do not worry. We're having issues with the stream again. Yeah, I am taking this setting off. For those who are curious, I was messing with the latency options. Something I've noticed in the last streams were that the chat was lagging behind me, where I'd be present in present time, but your guys' chat would come up maybe a minute or so later, and it got really confusing. Yeah, I heard that would help. But apparently my iPad can't do that. It keeps showing us an error. I mean, it's still moving, for me at least, but I don't know about you all. Yeah, I hope it's alright that things might be changing on the channel for a little bit. It's not, like I said, it's not going to be anything serious. It's just going to be small things. And I mean, this whole stream seems to be a little bit about doing stuff for you, and that's something that I'm branching out into. I still want to create content for you guys, as that's something that genuinely brings me joy. But I've been dabbling in other forms of content creation, and these little documentary series have really, really stuck out to me in the last few weeks, even a few months now. I made one technically recently in that short about the 24-hour challenge, and I loved every aspect about that. From the editing, to the recording, to even the the scripting portion of the video. Everything about it was just so fun, and I had a lot of I had a lot of excitement in sharing that process with you all. And while it didn't perform as good as my other videos, I think the views it did get and the engagement I had from all of you was well worth it. And I would like to share more about my process and more about my stories. More about me, even. That we typically don't get from just an animation channel. So if things have to change for that, expect those things to happen in maybe the next month or so. I want to make sure I have a couple videos saved up before we do something like that. And the documentary wouldn't be the only thing either. I'd probably do like tutorial videos as well. Maybe some behind the scenes and how the animation works, or how to add color to an animatic. Yeah, if that's something that you would like to see, let me know. Sorry, it's gonna be a little bit of a short stream today, though. This lagging in the recording is really beginning to bother me. I don't want it to interfere soon and cut out. So let's see what we got. So we made it to frame 22 from our old 7 we worked on last stream. The goal was to have Ozias's head move, and while we didn't get to the exact head movement, flashing warning, we did get him to slowly begin his walk off screen, which is going to be important as there's this whole transition scene of him leaving that I want to be able to catch. Well, I guess we did kind of get his head moving there. Now for the long-awaited promise. Here's the sneak peek to the new comic page. This one's going to be similar to the last short I made, where it's larger and actually looks more like the traditional style. I don't want to call it American, but it unfortunately was established by America. But it looks more like the American comic than that of a small short or manga. But yeah, this is Mermaid right here. And it might be obvious from her outward appearance why she's called Mermaid, but there's actually a really funny story behind it. She was given the name Mermaid by this guy right here. This is Clay, our hero and protagonist. They were exploring an abandoned water park when they came across her. And one of the main attractions around the water park were these sea-themed characters in the world called fauna. Now, how fauna work is they look like clay, except they would have animal-like features, like, let's say, bird wings, talons, cat-like ears and tail, and so forth and so forth. There is a sea variety called aquatic fauna, or sea fauna, whatever you want to call it. And Clay asked the rather stupid question of, why don't we call them mermaids? Because they're human, half fish. When his friend Alistair would not let him call them mermaids, he ended up calling the villain, who was a dramatized version of a sea monster, Mermaid, as he felt the name would best fit her. Let's give you a little read. Mermaid is madly in love with Clay, which results in this really silly scenario of her chasing him down in a home store, I think. A store full of home goods and all that fun stuff. But yeah, next stream, we'll be working on this. Thank you so much for coming. Sorry to cut things short, but we have to get out of here before the stream shuts off. Thanks again. Oh, and the ad's going to be cutting into my outro. But yeah, thank you again for coming. For all those who made it to the stream, you are appreciated, you are loved. Keep making stories. Hold on, need to write my outro. Yeah, keep making stories. Keep drawing. And I will see you in the next stream. Now, quick reminder, no stream next Friday. Just making that clear. Bye!